This is Eric Hayden with the National Weather Service in Morehead City, North Carolina. This is your video update for Tropical Storm Isaias as of Sunday morning. Our highest threats still remain rip currents in our area today into early next week. Becoming increasingly concerned with the threat for tornadoes, especially because these will occur well away and ahead of the actual storm center, and they could coincide with folks sleeping. So please have multiple ways to receive those warnings. We'll see tropical storm force winds over much of eastern North Carolina and the potential for heavy rain, which may produce some localized flash flooding. As far as the storm track overnight, not a lot of huge change. Isaias is expected to move off to the north and west along or near the Florida coastline through Monday afternoon, very, very slowly, then rapidly accelerate to the northeast across northeast North Carolina. Right now, with the landfall across South Carolina, or maybe as far north as the North Carolina-South Carolina border, that confidence in the storm track remains high. The thing that has changed over the last 12 hours is we're more confident of the timing and intensity. Those were some question marks over the last couple days. There still may be some small adjustments in the track, but these would only produce minor shifts of the highest impacts. As far as when the most likely time for those stronger winds to arrive, tropical storm force winds are most likely to arrive in our area sometime Monday night. Please continue to help us spread the message of rip currents. We've already seen some issues at the area beaches this weekend. Those will continue into early next week. The other thing we're concerned about is the tornado threat. With that track, that would place us on a favorable side for tornadoes anywhere in eastern North Carolina. And again, don't let your guard down just because you hear tropical storm. Any tropical cyclone can produce tornadoes, and these can occur well away from the center itself and well ahead of it. So as soon as those outer bands reach our coastline, we are at risk. And this may happen at nighttime, so please have multiple ways to receive warnings. That's where a NOAA weather radio is really good, and make sure you have fresh batteries for those for nighttime. As far as rainfall amounts go, not a lot of change, generally 2 to 4 inches, and we still think the highest amounts will be inland, lowest amounts will be toward the Outer Banks. These could shift around a little bit, but there won't be drastic changes, so the story remains the same. If we're going to see higher amounts, it would be places like northwest Duplin, up through Snow Hill and Greene County, Pitt County, and Martin County. So there could be some slight adjustments. Don't let your guard down in Jacksonville, New Bern, or Plymouth. Again, some small tweaks possible, but we don't expect this to shift around all that much. And the concern with the rain would be localized flash flooding during the periods of most intense rain. Please remember that most flood deaths occur in vehicles, and our campaign remains, please turn around, don't drown. As far as river flooding goes, we don't anticipate major issues. Most of our rivers can handle that water. This is a model forecast for Kinston. It's very, very similar for Catania Creek at Hookerton. Based on those rainfall amounts, this orange shading is the most likely scenario, which would be approaching action stage or maybe minor flooding in those areas. At the Northeast Cape Fear River at Chinkapin, Tar River at Greenville, mainly remaining below a minor stage. If we see more rain than we anticipate, places like Kinston and Catania Creek at Hookerton would exceed minor stage and maybe approach moderate. Bottom line though, once we see the rain end Tuesday, we'll have a really good idea of what we expect to fall in terms of getting it into the river models. This is not a long duration event, and we don't expect any impacts on the rivers until late in the week. So we can certainly have time to make adjustments. We still expect maximum sustained winds to mainly be tropical storm force across eastern North Carolina. And we do want to point out that some of these winds will be the strongest, close to the center. So we do think the stronger winds will be coastal Onslow County up through Kinston and Greenville. And you'll notice some enhancement up the Pamlico River and the Neuse River. With that southeast wind, we could see some slight local effects, places like New Bern and Washington, in terms of wind speed. Could have the potential for power outages and downed trees. So again, make sure that you have extra batteries, things like that for your needs if the power were to go out. As we look at the storm surge threat, generally inundation of 1 to 2 feet above normally dry ground, localized up to 3. What does that mean? These are low-lying areas near bodies of water that are usually dry. As this happens, we could see some ocean overwash on Highway 12 for the Outer Banks, especially near high tide and south of Rodanthe. So with a southeast flow, oceanside concerns are going to be mainly the Crystal Coast, and again, the Outer Banks south of Rodanthe through Hatteras Island and also Ocracoke Island. That will be the highest impact with that southeast flow. On the sounds and rivers, funneling up the Neuse near New Bern, funneling up the Pamlico near Washington, funneling up the Pungo River near Belhaven, we expect some water level rises there as well. On the sound side, with a southeast flow shifting into the southwest, we expect most of the high water to remain across the northern Outer Banks. I know we're especially concerned in Ocracoke and Hatteras Island based on what happened with Dorian. Always concerned with storm surge on the sound side in the Outer Banks. But with a southerly flow kicking into the southwest and pushing all that water north, we expect it to remain up there. So places like Kitty Hawk, also Manio, are at risk for that, again, 1 to 2 feet above normally dry ground, perhaps up to 3. We'll continue to watch it, but at this point it's still emphasizing the northern Outer Banks for sound side issues and not down toward Hatteras Island or Ocracoke. We've been doing these briefings twice a day, usually 6:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. You can find them at the top of our website, which is weather.gov/Morehead City. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube by searching NWS Morehead City.